Welcome to the third match of the evening. We're on Frost, spawning to the bottom right hand side in purple. We have our Terran player from LDLC. It's Miyako. And spawning to the bottom left hand side in blue, playing Protoss, for she's got the lane. It's Piscolita. So let's see how Piscolita prepared for her match against Miyako. It's always quite difficult to fight against a favorized player, especially someone that's probably as favorized as Miyako, because everyone knows that she's pretty good and pretty dangerous. So I think it's quite normal to assume that someone who gets into the game will be kind of nervous. Maybe sometimes fighting against the favorite will also just relax you a little bit, because you just know that everyone expects you to lose anyways. So everything that can happen actually is you surprising everyone. So yeah, maybe that actually just takes some of the stress from you. We'll see which of those it's going to be, but no matter whether you're stressed out or not, it's still going to be a tough fight. Piscolita just trying to be pretty annoying here, already pretty ballsy, just trying to annoy her opponent with the first probe, trying to tickle that SEV away, but yeah, Miyako just has everything under control. Nothing that's going to happen here. We'll actually have a little bit of bad luck by scouting her opponent probably at the last position. So always a little bit annoying if that's going to happen. So another probe just tries to bite away on that SCV over here, but first Marine is out, going to take out that pesky probe over here, and will now secure the entrance towards the metro base. Very nicely done so far. In the meantime, we have a reactor being built, a factory going down for Miyako, so it seems as if Miyako just will go for the 1-1-1 build we've seen so often out of her again. So another supply depot in order to wall off this ramp completely if necessary. She will be able to lift that depot so that adepts, for example, won't be able to shade in. And that's why you normally want to have that wall off, which is something that actually only got popular during Legacy of the Void, because before it was actually almost never done, or it was just very uncommon to build a full wall off at the top of the ramp against Protoss, because normally you just didn't need to do it. Okay, Miyako now finally will scout her opponent. We'll now see where her opponent's base is, while in the meantime going into a mine build first with a starport follow-up. So she's probably going to rally that mine over towards that position in order to just surprise her opponent if she wants to go up that ramp, and just tries to get some more kills. Oh, actually it seems as if Miyako just did a little blunder over here, just failed to raise the depot early enough so that the Adept Shade wouldn't get in. So right now the Adept just getting some more kills before finally vanishing out. And will probably even be able to either do more damage or just escape completely. But I think Piscolita really wants to do some more damage. Okay, finally gets one more SCV over here. 4 have been killed in total, so that's actually a first quite nice victory against Miyako here. But yeah, like I said, I mean, Miyako will just get the first Widow Mine out. We'll try to position it down here first, so that she might be able to even catch the unit off guard and kill it before it will even get up the ramp. And then she's probably going to wait for a starport, for the starport to finish and the first medivac being out. And then she will probably just load in everything that's here and will just transport it towards Piscolita's base. And there's actually not much to protect against it. I mean, there's a pylon over here, but the mothership core is quite far away. There's one stalker in position, but it won't be able to shoot down a medivac completely. And it seems as if Miyako actually doesn't really want to fly into the base, but just to walk into the metro base right away. So she can always, of course, just choose if she wants to go in, but she's pulled some SCVs with her, so she's going to throw down some bunkers as well. So it seems again as if she just wants to do one of her aggressive early pushes against Protoss, where she just contains her opponent on 2 bases. Actually a little misplacement here by the bunkers, even a second one as well, so everything just gets blown out. Okay, no, that was just not a real misplacement over here, but actually Piscolita just overcharged 2 pylons here, so that everything was just out of position. Okay, and then getting the additional tank over here, so now she will actually have sort of a hard contain. Yeah, has to be careful here with these stalkers. Quite nicely done by Piscolita here, realizing that the siege tank will be in position in quite some time. So now again, Miyako would have normally to scan again, but there's the Liberator, and that's actually why the Liberator is so important. Not only to give you more power on the ground, but also to provide you some vision onto the high ground, so that your tank might be able to get off some shots more as well. And now finally the defenses are starting to die here for Piscolita. She's lost her 2 defensive pylons over here, so even if she had enough energy, and now she does, to throw down an overcharge, there's nothing to throw it on. So unfortunately, just Miyako just pressing forward again and again. More Marines are being rallied, the siege tank just firing from behind, taking down that natural base of Piscolita, who's just not able to do anything against it at all. But I actually like how patient Piscolita is here. She just has realized that there's not much she can do from where she is at the moment, so she actually has to wait a little more, get just more units, in order to break this push without dying. I mean, afterwards she will still have to see what she will be able to do. Okay, nicely focus fire, nice focus fire there on the Immortal. She knows, Miyako knows, that the Immortal just is the most important damage dealer, especially against that siege tank. And finally Miyako breaks through completely, takes the first game. The second map of the series, ladies and gentlemen, we're on Frozen Temple, spawning to the top left-hand corner in purple. It's our Terran player Miyako. And to the bottom right hand side in blue, playing Protoss, it's Piscolita. Let's see if Miyako wants to go for either the same push once more. Well, that's something we see very rarely out of her. Miyako just likes to mix up her builds, even though she knows that the build she just chose might work off again quite well if she chose to do it. But yeah, we'll see. Like I said before, Miyako just likes to mix things up just for the heck of it, just because she can, and just because it's also more interesting to watch. So she also just wants to give the viewers a little bit of entertainment. So we see. Okay, first scouts moving already out. We have Piscolita just moving towards Miyako's main base. She will be able to get a scouting, to get her scouting done, no problem. Especially since the supply depot is down anyways, but there's a big gap here as well. Okay, just goes in and out once more. Don't really know if that was what she wanted to do. Might have been a misclick over here. So Miyako just getting into the Protoss base unhindered, no problem there. And Piscolita just going for an early expand after the gateway and the assimilator. Actually, it's not really that early. It's quite common to do that. But after getting that attack to the face in the last game, I don't know if I would be so ballsy to just go for a normal early expand. I mean, yeah, she's seen the barracks over here, Piscolita that is, with that probe over here. She didn't really see anything else there, so not even that gas over here. So I mean, she can assume that her opponent goes gas and then maybe into a Reaper build because it's pretty common. But still, I mean, she hasn't really gathered that much information, and just going into a Nexus afterwards, I mean, it might be risky, it might not be. So in the meantime, we have Miyako just going for the bunker, trying to play a little bit more defensive in the early game before ramping up the aggression. Miyako in the meantime just uses her Reaper mostly not to harass, but in order to just gather more information, whether her opponent is trying to proxy her at any point on the map close to her base, which I think is actually a nice and wise thing to do as well, because you have to keep in mind that Piscolita was the one person who just chose this map. And we have to admit it, Frozen Temple is quite known for proxy cheeses by Protoss. So it seems as if Miyako is just counting on that, just thinking that Piscolita deliberately chose that map in order to play some cheesy tricks on her. So this time around, Miyako just managed to lift up that supply depot, so the Adept couldn't get in. Still managed to get to get into the natural base, so it might have been able to kill some workers, but actually she didn't really commit to do it. So nothing died over here, and Miyako now finally walls off this section completely, so that Adepts won't be able to move in anymore at all. So in the meantime, we see her go for the standard build once more, this time a little bit later with an earlier natural base over here. But it's, again, the 1-1-1 build with the one barracks and then into factory and then into starport. Not building a mine this time around, but seems as if she wants to go either into tanks right away, or she just builds this tech lab in order to switch up these buildings so that she will be able to produce a Banshee afterwards, after the medevac here, but we'll see what's going to happen. Observer almost done for Piscolita, so she would be able to see any sort of hidden unit, any sort of cloaked unit, no problem for her there. Okay, taking out the unbuildable rocks is just something you want to do because you don't want to misclick on them. And now there's a cyclone. Actually, that would have been the third possibility I wasn't really thinking about. So Piscolita just getting the cyclone out, probably not for some aggressive play as she used it in the last game. It seems this time around she just wants to go for a more normal. Actually, there was the observer. Did it see the medevac? Maybe just barely. We'll see. Well, Piscolita is not moving out, so it does not really matter whether she had the possibility to see it on the minimap or not. She didn't really, either she didn't see it at all, or if she did, she just wasn't realizing what was going on. Miyako just trying to get inside the main base with a few marines and a mine as well, and now we can finally see what damage mines can actually deal if they are not treated correctly. So this is actually a nice move out of here, nice move out of Piscolita here. So just trying to lure the marines into the pylon. Has to be careful not to walk into the widow mine. She already has an observer out, just needs to get it back. Unfortunately, I think the observer was just moved towards the main entrance, or the natural entrance, sorry, of Miyako here. So she has to build another one before she can finally get that mine shot down. So yeah, finally it goes down. And actually it seems as if, yeah, the mine unburrowed to burrow somewhere else, but these stalkers just were there in time in order to take it out. And now only the medevac and a few more units survive. So, I think I kind of like the position that Piscolita is in. She has an observer in place, so she'll realize once her opponent is going out for the big push. In the meantime, Miyako just tries to move in once more from the right angle, but stalkers were already in place, so nothing that damaged her over here. Of course, she can't really take a third base quite as easy as maybe she would like to do so, but now she's finally moving out. It seems as if she's already preparing for her first push. So, I mean, if you just have a look at the production tab, I mean, that's just crazy, seeing how many things Miyako is just getting out. Now finally placing her third base down at the at the natural third base location. Some people want to take this one as a third base, but the usual one is that one for sure. And now even preparing to defend once more. Like I said before, it seems as if Miyako just really wants to play it a little more defensive, trying to do more of a traditional game versus Protoss, where you just try to harass with medevac drops and then eventually just build up to 3 bases, trying to overwhelm the opponent with masses. So, we'll see how it's going to work out for her. So in the meantime, she just tried to take the third base. The Marine obviously tried to shoo it away by shooting at it, but Piscolita just reacted in time, drew it back, and then just killed off the Marine with the rest of her armies. And now also finally taking a third base. But of course, economically, she's now quite behind. And what I said before, that I was actually liking Piscolita's position, has actually already turned, because right now Piscolita's position is not really looking that well. So, not really looking that good, sorry. So, Piscolita just tries to make something happen with the help of the warp prism, and it actually might work out quite well. How many gateways are there? Okay, 2 more in production, but they won't have finished until the warp prism has finally found its destination. But, yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 4 gateways at least. So she just warped in a few stalkers and an adept. Again, don't really know how I feel about the stalkers. We've seen this We've seen Piscolita do this over and over again, just whopping in Stalkers for harassment purposes, which always seems a little bit odd to me, because Stalkers can shoot air and ground, but they're not really that big of a damage dealer. So I think whopping in Adepts or just Zealots would normally be the better choice here, because like I said, these Stalkers just won't do that much. I mean, they can blink, and if you save them, it's also quite nice, but if you lose them, you actually need to do a lot of damage with your harassment. Oh, and there's actually the lock-on, but it's, no, not the lock-on, okay, unfortunately Miyako missed it, but otherwise she might have been able to take down the Warp Prism over here. So I mean, okay, if you can load them in once again and just get them out, yes, you have actually not lost anything and dealt some damage. But if you lose actually only a few of them or even all of them, it's just been such a big investment, and you would have needed to do a lot of damage actually in order to pay that off. And same thing, nevertheless, you can also just unload some few Zealots and load them in once again. And if you manage to load them in, you've lost nothing, but you will probably have dealt much more damage with them. So yeah, again, it's just a little bit odd, don't know why she really does it, but it seems to work for her, so who am I to criticize it? It's just something that makes me wonder. So in the meantime, the third base has finally gone up for Piscolita. Still, Miyako's just up in supply like crazy. She also has the better upgrades. And a little bit of an army lead is, but what's the really important thing is the worker lead, I think. I mean, being behind in workers against a Terran that can also use mules is something you just normally never want to happen. Okay, quite nice there for Miyako. Miyako obviously wants to go into some sort of Liberator play, because she's just researched the Liberator upgrade for range. So it's actually a lot more difficult to get a shot at the Liberator once it's sieged. But of course, there's also another problem, also something Miyako is also already preparing for, which is Ghost. And the Ghost tech is actually something that Piscolita had, the Templar tech is actually something that Piscolita had just researched. So it seems before Piscolita will be able to get a good damage dealer out, Miyako will already have managed to tech up into, and the Warp Prism just barely doesn't go down. Again, the Stalkers are in here, but yeah, I mean, right now the Warp Prism just gets taken down. The Warp Prism won't be able to pick up these Stalkers anymore, and now you just lose 3 to 4 Stalkers for just 2 drones, 2 workers, sorry for that, and a Warp Prism. So that was totally not worth it. I mean, that was like the best trade that Miyako could get right there. Okay, just getting more Liberators over here. Upgrades are now at 2-2 to the 1-1 of Piscolita, trying to get up to the level 2 ground armor, which will actually help her out quite a bit against these heavy amount of bio units, but it alone just won't suffice. You need some sort of AoE tech, which is actually the High Templars. So if Piscolita manages to get good storms off, she might be able to make something work. But on the other hand, if Miyako, and we actually can assume her to do that, just uses her ghosts, where are they actually? You can't really see them in the army. Are they not here? That's actually a little bit odd. But yeah, if she just manages to get her ghosts, oh, there they are. To get her ghosts cloaked, and she has just research cloak, and then just move into here and fire off 1 EMP. Actually, it's only 1 EMP needed. Into that cluster of HTs, everything is just going to die. But quite nice storms. I mean, it seems as if Miyako was just a little late with her ghost over there. Just walks in with all of her army. I mean, the Liberator's still doing quite some damage underneath where the liberation zones are at, and unfortunately right now Piscolita is not really target firing the Liberators here, instead just fighting against some small little units underneath his liberation zones, which is something you normally just don't want to do because Liberators just deal so much damage. But finally Miyako has to retreat after Piscolita managed to kill 1 more Liberator off with the help of these Archons and these Blink Stalkers. And from now on, I'd actually say that was a very well fight for Piscolita. I mean, that was actually like the best she could have hoped for, going for an immediate counterattack, and that might actually be her best move, since her opponent has already taken a 4th base, while her own 4th base has been taken out. So, she has to make something happen, but in the meantime, I think she really has to go for another base, and she does. So in the meantime, now trying to get some multi-prong harassment. Unfortunately, there's a planetary fortress over here, so the adepts won't really deal that much damage, and there's again a big and heavy bioforce with liberator support over here, so Piscolita just has to retreat immediately, gets nothing done really, which is very unfortunate for her, because her 4th base is just going down while Miyako already prepares to take a 5th one. So actually Piscolita should have seen that flying over there, so yeah, she just gets over here and will probably warp in a few more units in order to take out that command center over here. But of course Miyako has already realized that Piscolita has seen, or maybe she didn't. I think she should have realized that Piscolita had a warp prism over here. Okay, just goes in, another planetary fortress just wants to go down, and it seems as if Miyako is just abandoning this base over here. She will maybe she will be there in time, but there's a lot of Protoss force incoming as well. So yeah, she might be able to take out these forces over here. The command center is already burning, but the planetary fortress is almost done. So, okay, but with the rest... Oh, with the rest of the units, what was she doing? I mean, Piscolita now has to decide, what does she want to do? Okay, Miyako just cancels the planetary fortress, but can't really lift the command center anymore. It wouldn't have gotten out anyway. So another big engagement over here. There's storms available. Actually, a lot of storms available. Not hitting really. Oh, they're actually just hitting the front part of the units over here. So it was actually quite close there. But yeah, a lot of storms were actually available. Nevertheless, Piscolita just retreats for now. Don't really know if I like that choice. I mean, yeah, there are a few liberators out here. There's also ghosts, and of course they can just turn the tide of the battle in an instant by hitting those EMPs, because, like we said before, if the Protoss doesn't have any AoE at that stage in the game, Bio will just shred through everything. So... she has to be careful when she wants to engage. I mean, upgrades are looking okay for the situation she has been over the last few minutes, but of course they could be better. Miyako will hit 3-3 now, so her bio army will just get so much better dishing out damage. The amount of DPS a 3-3 bio force has is just laughable at some points, but yeah, I mean, ridiculous. Not laughable in the mean of, yeah, it's just worthless, you can just laugh about it. But it's just ridiculous. The amount is just insane. So a few more adepts trying to get through. Miyako even repairing the bunker, so she won't have to build it later on in order to keep these pesky adepts from shading inside her main base. Okay, that's actually like the worst position ever. Miyako just scouted everything, knows where the opponent is coming from, just setting up all the liberation zones, and there's no way in hell you can just walk in there. Okay, a few more stalkers again trying to get something done inside the fourth base position, I'm sorry for that. But Miyako just knew it immediately, sniffed it out, and just moves a few units towards that base, fending off everything without any damage being dealt. And Piscolita is running out of options. I mean, finally she's managed to take her own fourth base. There's another stalker over here, so Miyako won't be able to take that base as well. The warp prism was flying over here, so actually maybe Piscolita just wanted to check whether a base was already here. And again, Piscolita just trying to go for the double-pronged harassment and the double-pronged attack. I mean, Miyako just has a very good sense of where army units are trying to go. Finally, we have the big engagement over here. Liberation zones are already set up. Piscolita just trying to fight underneath these liberation zones. Storms are not really hitting what they were supposed to hit. And finally, everything of Piscolita just gets crushed. There's a few little harassment force over to the left-hand side, but unfortunately there's Cloak Ghost, which will destroy all of the harassment force, and that's it. I mean, Piscolita can't really do anything against this. This army is just way too big. With just mere gateway units, you just can't stop this, especially not if there's so much freedom around. So no way to hold this. Miyako just breaks through 199 to 89 supply, getting just shreds through everything with her 3-3 Bioforce, setting the Liberators up once more. Freedom is here, ladies and gentlemen. GG, and Miyako takes the second game as well. The third map of the series, Piscolita chose Apotheosis, and this is her spawning to the top left-hand side in blue as a Protoss player. And to the bottom right-hand side in purple, we have LDLC's Miyako, la programmeuse française, who's just managed to build a depot. Hype, hype! That's actually always the situation that reminds me of Korean commentators just hyping up the game like crazy, crying around and screaming, and then suddenly it's only the first depot that's being built. So, okay, nothing all too surprising for the moment. We have a gateway for Piscolita. Probably wants to go into an early expand once more. Let's see if she surprises us a little bit by taking the gold base first. We'll see. I mean, sometimes you really think there must be a reason for a player to like take Apotheosis. It's a map that we rarely see in pro gameplay, but actually in the FSL players just seem to like it somehow, and they choose it very often. So let's see what Miyako is up to. It seems as if she wants to go into her 1-1-1 build once more, after expanding probably. So just moving down with the SCV, gathering some more, while now being attacked by the little probe down here. It has to retreat for a little bit, so actually the first small victory for Piscolita, just denying this SCV the build of the command center. So now it's going to die, maybe getting away. No, not like this. Okay, not if you try to get away like that, but it probably wasn't. Maybe she was just trying to get some more information down here. Don't really know. Maybe it was just a misrally, but yeah, it didn't really make that much sense. Okay, just had this little pylon over here in order to block the reactor. Well, actually, you can't really block it that well. I mean, of course, the Terran can just always lift the barracks, put it somewhere else, and then just build the reactor. But it's a bit annoying. I mean, you normally just want to start the reactor a little bit earlier, and the pylon just keeps it from happening if you don't want to move up the barracks and then just produce the reactor somewhere else, and then the barracks just stands there forever, and you would have actually to plant down another building in order to close that gap once more. So yeah, that's something you just don't want to happen. Bunker being built in the front of Miyako's natural. Well, in the meantime, we have the fast nexus down here for Piscolita, just as expected. Now going into a Stargate, which is actually quite interesting. We haven't seen that from her yet, so let's see what she really wants to do and wants to gain with that little Stargate over here. Maybe going into an Oracle, and we'll try to fly it over completely in order to deal some damage to the mineral line of Miyako's main base. Or maybe she just wants to go into Phoenix in order to have a stronger mid-game composition and have something which will help her to defend drops. Because actually that map is kinda drop friendly, like we were talking before in another matchup. There's a lot of space where people can drop in unseen, so that's why Piscolita actually moves her probe down here in order to plant down a pylon. So she will just gain more vision of that area and will get a warning once a drop tries to get inside her base via that route. So, let's see if Miyako is trying to do that. On the other hand, this base is, I mean, it's also kind of drop friendly. You can just fly in from here, drop something, just load in and drop it back here, because the army units would just have to move around a little bit. But yeah, it's not really the best drop position you can have. And there's the Oracle finally out. It's going to fly across towards the main base. And thus far, we don't have any kind of defense against this. No turret here so far. And nothing there to spot the Oracle as well. So there's the first drop. Again, it's the Marine Mine drop. We've seen this out of Miyako so many times. It's not even that surprising anymore. So in the meantime, we also have a few adepts in here. So it seems as if Piscolita again wants to go for some multi-prong harassment. Just tries to make something happen. Unfortunately, the shades won't get through because Miyako has already managed to seal off the entrance towards her natural base completely. So where's the medevac actually? I really like to see where the medevac is. Oh, it's there, still on its way, but yeah, the purple dot is really problematic to see. But it seems as if she might just get the right angle and the best position, yeah, where just actually no vision is guaranteed. So it seems as if she just wants to move forwards. We'll probably just unload the Widowmine over here and burrow it right next to the ramp. So whenever units try to get down or up, they will just run into the Widowmine and get killed, which is just so annoying to deal with. So in the meantime, it seems the Oracle wants to fly. Where's the Oracle? Did the Oracle actually... The Oracle actually got taken down somewhere, which is very unfortunate there for Piscolita, because that would have actually been her only way of applying some counter pressure to her opponent. Now even taking out... Oh, this is so mean. Just scanning and taking out the observers so that Piscolita just won't have any detection in order to kill off the Widowmine. At least it's now fired off its shot, so Piscolita will have some time left before it will have another shot ready, and in the meantime the observer will be out and she will probably be able to take it out before, yeah, maybe sometimes Miyako even manages to get out another shot. And okay, in the meantime we have another drop plus the Liberators over here, so Miyako again just doing what she can best, being annoying as fuck and just harassing from every angle. Ooh, no, even unnecessarily just losing more adepts and more units over here. Finally the Stalkers arrive, will be able to take out that Liberator and maybe even that medevac. No, Miyako just realizes it soon enough while taking the third base back here. Okay, seems as if, yeah, that was actually the thing that killed off the Oracle. Miyako just managed to get out a Cyclone in time, so it killed off the Oracle back here easily and no harm was taken. So it seems, again, as if Miyako just has a big lead over here. I mean, her third base is almost halfway done. No third base in sight whatsoever for Piscolita. She's stuck on 2 bases. She's taken quite a big amount of damage. Hasn't lost that many workers. That's actually the good news. But, I mean, she's on 2 bases still. So I think her next push will have to do a lot of damage unless she doesn't want to be behind like crazy. So Miyako also moving out with her tanks, a few Marines and the Cyclone. It's almost the same mixture she had a little bit earlier in the first game, where she just did the push together with a few bunkers, but yeah, this time around the push is coming a little bit later with a third base almost already ready. So and the build was of course a completely different one with a few drops beforehand. But yeah, that's actually still a good army composition. Actually Miyako can just abuse the terrain here a little bit by just moving the siege tanks over to that side, where it's a little bit more problematic for Piscolita to engage, especially through the choke point. That's not what she wants to do against 2 tanks just firing at her while she's moving through a choke point. So it seems as if Piscolita might even, I think actually the best solution for her might now be to even take out the rock tower. Well, maybe not. It might be a lot more... Well, actually, I think it would be. I think it would be a good solution to just take down the rock tower while she can, while her opponent is not watching and not using scan. But it seems as if Miyako maybe wants to drop in or elevate her up into the main base. No, she doesn't. Just retreats completely, or maybe just wants to elevate her up from behind here. So where it just will take longer for Piscolita to get. She will probably realize what's going to happen a little bit earlier because she has the pylon in place. So now moving into the main base, while Miyako is, like we said, elevatoring into the main base, and this is going to be a very difficult to break position here. I mean, she has Liberators in place. She also has some tanks over here. So she also has some units down here as well. So even if Piscolita tried to get in from behind in order to take out these Liberators, it would be quite difficult to do so. But it seems as if Piscolita will be able to break through, not without losing a lot of her own units though, but finally manages to take everything down. Unless, of course, the Liberator just barely gets taken out, but losing a lot of Stalkers in the process as well. So yeah, I mean, successfully held, but still being behind in supply, being behind 1 base now, and it's the gold base in addition to that. Miyako just throwing out barracks like crazy because she just has the boosted mineral income from the gold minerals. And now finally Piscolita tries to throw down a third base, but it's almost the 10-minute mark. So this base is just way too late, especially with Miyako having a third base so much earlier than her and it being a gold base in addition to that. Wow, I mean, this push just has to do everything. I mean, it has to at least kill this base over here and most of Miyako's army as well. And I just don't see her doing it. Again, Miyako just scanning. How did she know? I mean, what the hell? What kind of spider senses does she have? Just scanning over there. How the frick did she know that her opponent was walking that way? That was quite odd, actually. Okay, just moving across with the rest of the units, Piscolita is. So she also has a few Void Rays in the mix. Void Rays will actually be quite okay against the Liberators if you manage to focus fire them down. Of course, if your opponent, probably it was just a Marine being in position. Yeah, there it is. So that's actually why she knew what was going to happen. Probably her opponent just killed off that Marine and that tipped her off what was happening. So yeah, never mind. Again, killing the Marine just tipped Miyako off. She just replaces all of her army. Otherwise, this could have been quite a successful push. Doesn't want to walk into set up liberation zones, especially not if there are as many as those. So let's see if she will be able to make something happen. I mean, I would really like some additional harassment from the right angle, but of course there's also the sensor tower in position, so Miyako wouldn't know right away. Still, it might cause her to just split up her army a little bit too thin here or there. And now again, just taking the big engagement on the liberation zones with almost no AoE whatsoever. Miyako just stimming through, killing everything, and takes the game with a quick 3-0.